The campus is quieter at evening. Most students have left. The sky gloomy, dust starting to hit in, scattered with stars, and the wind is cool but not cold. And yet, your heart is burning. Because right now you're standing in front of Taehyung and he's looking at you with something different in his eyes. Something serious, something real, and you already know what's coming, but you don't want to hear it. Because if he says it, it'll become real. And if it becomes real, you'll have to face what you've been avoiding. Taehyung watching you, he speaks in a soft tone. You're avoiding me. You exhale, tired. No, I'm not. Your voice is quiet. He smirks, but his voice is softer this time. Liar. Your chest tightens because he's right. You've been avoiding him ever since you started feeling too much, and he's not letting it go this time. He steps closer to you. I know you feel it too. His voice is so gentle. Your breath hitches. He's close, too close. His gaze searches yours. Deep, steady, unshakable. He then whispers, leaning near your ears like it's some secret. You're trying so hard to push me away. Your heart skips a beat. You swallow. Because yes, you are. And yet, here you are, still standing in front of him. Your silence is an answer, and he knows it. So he does something you don't expect. He reaches out. His fingers gently brush against yours, a light touch, barely there, but it makes your whole body freeze. I like you. His voice is sincere and genuine. The words hit you like a storm, because for the first time he's not teasing, not playing games, not smirking. He's just honest. And you feel like you can't breathe, because he means it. Every word, every glance, every touch, and that terrifies you. So you do the only thing you can. You step back, his fingers slip away, and for the first time you see hurt flash in his eyes, but he quickly hides it. Forcing yourself to be firm, no, you reply quietly. His jaw clenches, but he speaks in a soft tone, tilting his head. No? You look away. I don't feel the same. Lie. Taehyung watching you carefully, his voice barely above a whisper, he asks, You don't? You clench your fist, forcing a cold smile, your voice quiet but firm. You have only ever flirted with me, Taehyung, and it's all been a game to you, and I know it doesn't mean anything. You're lying. You know it, he knows it, but he lets you say it anyway because he's watching your eyes and he sees the way they betray you, the way they look away, the way they hesitate. But he doesn't push, not this time. Instead, he laughs softly, and for some reason that hurts more because it's not his usual laugh, it's tired, and when he looks at you again, there's sadness behind his smirk. Damn, he utters softly, almost to himself. You don't know what he means and you don't ask because you know if you do, you won't be able to walk away and you need to walk away before it's too late. So you do, even though your heart feels like it's breaking. He watches you leave and for the first time in his life, Kim Taehyung feels like he lost because he knows you're lying, but he also knows he can't force you to stay. So he does something he never does. He lets you go, even though every part of him wants to run after you, even though he knows this isn't the end. Because he's Kim Taehyung and he doesn't give up that easily. Time skip. The night is quiet. You sit on your bed staring at the ceiling, your mind clouded with memories of Taehyung. His teasing smirks, his intense gaze, the way he made your pulse race even when you wanted to push him away. Your fingers unconsciously grip the bedsheet as you exhale sharply. You whisper to yourself, frustrated. Why does he keep coming back? Why can't I just ignore him? You shake your head as if trying to rid yourself of these thoughts. But no matter how hard you try, your mind keeps looping back to him, Taehyung. His relentless pursuit, his boldness, his moments of unexpected softness, the way he looks at you like he already knows you're his, like he's just waiting for you to admit it too. You sit up, running a hand through your hair, your heartbeat uneven. You murmur softly, admitting to yourself for the first time, This, whatever this is, I hate that it's starting to feel real. You let out a small bitter chuckle, shaking your head, but deep inside you know, no matter how much you want to deny it, Taehyung is not just some bad boy who flirts for fun. He's making you feel things you promised yourself you would never feel again. Time skip. The next afternoon, you walk through the university courtyard still unsettled. You try to act normal, but you know you've been off since last night, and then you see it, the sight that makes your breath hitch. A few feet away, your daughter is with Taehyung. Today, too, you had to bring her to the university without a choice. Taehyung is crouched down, helping your little girl tie her shoelaces, his expression one of pure ease and focus. Your daughter giggles, patting his cheek playfully as if they've known each other for years. You're so good at this, faster than my mommy, she says excitedly. He grins with a playful smug face. Of course, I'm good at everything, princess. You blink, stunned. Your daughter never lets anyone touch her hair, yet there Taehyung is carefully adjusting the little bow on her head, his movements surprisingly gentle. The sight is strangely intimate, familiar, as if he belongs there. Then, out of nowhere, your daughter launches herself at Taehyung, wrapping her small arms around his neck. Taehyung freezes for a second, then laughs, hugging her back effortlessly. You're my favorite person in the world today, she giggles. Your chest tightens. Taehyung smiles but then lifts his head slightly and locks eyes with you. He sees you watching. His smirk deepens, but his eyes soften just a little. He murmurs, still holding the little girl. You watching me, sweetheart? You swallow hard, your pulse stuttering. You hate how effortlessly he catches you off guard. Time skip. That evening you find yourself staring at an old picture, a picture of your late husband holding your daughter when she was just a baby. A painful warmth fills your chest. You had loved him deeply, and when he was gone you thought that was it. Your heart could never belong to someone else. But now there's Taehyung, unapologetic, relentless, bold, and your daughter adores him. That scares you more than anything. Feeling conflicted, you whisper to yourself, am I really moving on? A small tear escapes, but you quickly wipe it away. You don't want to think about it, not yet. Time skip. In the university. The next evening, you stay late in the library hoping to distract yourself, but as soon as you step outside, he's there. Taehyung, leaning casually against his motorcycle, arms crossed, waiting. Your steps falter and he smirks at your hesitation. You ran away pretty fast earlier, he teases, his voice lower than usual. You cross your arms as if feigning indifference. Didn't know I owed you an explanation for where I go. He pushes off his bike, stepping closer, eyes dangerously unreadable. But there's something else in you both tonight, something softer, something deeper. You don't, but you do hope yourself one. His voice is low. You exhale sharply, not liking the way his words make your stomach twist. He studies you for a moment before taking a step closer, too close. His scent, his warmth, the sheer intensity of him, it's overwhelming. He murmurs, gaze locked on yours. You're scared, aren't you? Of what? He leans in just slightly. Me. His voice is soft. Your heart skips a beat. His voice is nothing but a whisper now, laced with a dangerous gentleness, one you never expected from him. He is still watching you. I see it in your eyes, sweetheart. You feel something, but you don't want to. You clench your jaw trying to pull back, but he's already taken another step closer, his voice dropping lower and lower. It's okay, I'll wait. You swallow hard, because for the first time you don't know if you want him to stop waiting. Time skip. The next few days pass in a blur, but one thing remains constant, Taehyung. He's everywhere, not just in your thoughts, but in your reality too. At the university, he casually walks past you, bumping into your shoulder just enough to get your attention. At the library, he sits at a table nearby, flipping through books as if he actually studies. At the cafe, he leans against the counter, ordering the same drink as you with a teasing smirk. And every time you try to act indifferent, you feel him, you notice him, and you hate how much you like it. Time skip. That evening, you're on your way home when you get a call from your neighbor. On the phone. Hey Vi, I'm sorry to bother you, but your daughter was locked out of your house. She came to my place, but she seemed a little shaken up. She speaks in a concerned tone. Your heart stops. You quicken your pace immediately. Oh my god, thank you for calling. I'm almost home, you reply in a worried tone. Actually, there's someone with her now. He said he knows you. You frown, heart pounding as you rush home, and when you finally reach your doorstep, you freeze. Sitting on the porch, your daughter is happily chatting with Taehyung. He is sitting beside her, cross-legged, holding her school bag while she enthusiastically tells him a story. For a second, you just stare. Your playful bad boy rebellious Taehyung is sitting there like a big brother figure to your daughter. He looks so natural, so effortless. You clear your throat, stepping forward. You speak, still breathless from running. What are you doing here? Your daughter gasps, jumping up and running to you. Mommy, I forgot my keys, but they saved me. Taehyung just shrugs, looking up at you with a lazy smile, but there's something softer in his eyes. Your neighbor was busy and she looked a little lost. Thought I would wait with her. You eye at him suspiciously. And how exactly were you here in the first place? Fate, he grins. You narrow your eyes, but your daughter is already tugging on your hand. Mommy, Tae draws so funny. He made a princess with blue hair. You finally notice the small notebook in Taehyung's hands full of doodles. Your daughter's doodles and his. And suddenly it's too much, too soft, too real. Taehyung, this man, the one you swore was nothing but trouble, is sitting there patiently entertaining your child, and you hate the way it makes you feel. Time skip. Later that night, after dinner, after putting your daughter to sleep, you find yourself standing outside the house in the front yard, staring at the stars. The air is crisp, but there's a warmth inside your heart that refuses to go away. You didn't expect him to still be there, but when you turn, he is. He's leaning against his bike parked near your house, watching you like he already knew you would come outside. Your breath catches. There's something softer in his eyes tonight, something real. You sigh, shaking your head. You really don't give up, do you? Not when I know what I want. He smirks softly, but his voice is deep and thick. Your heart does a flip. Silence stretches between you two, thick with tension. But this time it's different. It's not teasing, it's not a game, it's real. Taehyung steps closer, slowly, giving you the chance to move away. But you don't. Instead, you let him close the space between you, your breaths mixing in the cold night air. His gaze is locked on yours. Tell me to stop and I will, he murmurs, voice softer than ever. You inhale sharply, your heart is hammering, but you can't say it. You want him to stop. His fingers brush against your hand, a small touch barely there, but it burns. He watches your reaction closely, as if memorizing every tiny detail. He whispers with the slightest smirk. You can't say it, can you? You clench your jaw, hating how much he sees through you, how much he knows. It doesn't change anything. You whisper, looking away. His smirk fades slightly. He tilts his head, studying you. Why are you so scared? His voice is gentle. You exhale sharply. You should push him away. You should end this before it's too late. But your heart is betraying you. Because I know how this ends. You force a smile. And there it is, your reason. The truth you've been running from. Taehyung watches you, something flickering in his gaze. He doesn't argue. He doesn't push. You don't. You just think you do. He replies in a soft yet firm tone. You close your eyes for a second. Because for the first time, maybe, just maybe, you're wrong. Time skip next day. It's late at night and you're sitting in the living area watching out the window, staring at the city lights. Your heart feels heavy. You've been pushing Taehyung away, convincing yourself it's for the best. But deep down you know the truth. You're scared. Scared of what he means to you. Scared of what losing him again would feel like. Your daughter is already asleep inside, the house is quiet but your mind isn't. And just when you think you can finally get a moment to yourself, there's a knock on the door. Your breath catches because you know exactly who it is. When you open the door, Taehyung is standing there, hands in his pocket, gaze steady. He doesn't look like he's here to tease you this time. He looks like he's here for the truth. Are you gonna keep shutting me out? Your fingers grip the door frame. You should say yes. You should push him away like you've been doing for weeks, but you can't. Instead, you exhale and step aside. Taehyung takes it as an invitation and walks in. You stand in silence for a few seconds before you finally speak. You shouldn't keep coming here, you whisper, and yet you always let me in. You look away, you hate that he's right. Taehyung watches you for a long moment, his expression unreadable, and then he steps closer. Not to tease you, not to play his usual games, but because he needs to understand. Vian, tell me the truth, why are you pushing me away? He asks in a gentle yet firm tone. You struggle to open your mouth. He just waits because he knows you'll break. And finally, you do. Because I'm scared. Your voice cracks. Taehyung's eyes soften, but he doesn't speak. He waits, letting you continue. You exhale shakily. I lost someone before Taehyung, and it broke me. It broke her. You gesture towards the closed bedroom door where your daughter is sleeping. I spent years building a life that was safe, no risks, no heartbreak, and then you came back and you stopped shaking your head. And suddenly everything feels dangerous again. Taehyung takes another step closer, but this time you don't back away. In soft yet defeated voice, you ask, "What if I let you in and you leave?" Your voice cracks at the last word because that's the real fear, the real reason you've been avoiding him, running from him. You can't lose another person you love. You can't let your daughter lose someone again just when she's finally opened up to him. Tears prick at your eyes, but you blink them away. For the first time, Taehyung sees you completely, not just the confident woman you show the world, but the one who's been carrying so much pain, and it breaks him. For a second, he just watches you, and then he does the only thing that feels right. He steps forward and pulls you into his arms. You stiffen, but only for a second, because the moment he holds you, something inside you shatters. You close your eyes, gripping onto his shirt, finally allowing yourself to fall apart. "I'm not leaving," he whispers softly into your hair. You squeeze your eyes shut, shaking your head against his chest. You whisper, voice thick with emotion. You say that now, but people always leave. Taehyung exhales, pulling back just enough to look at you. His hands cup your face gently, thumbs brushing against your cheeks. His voice firm but tender. "Not me." He swallows hard. "I've already lost you once, Vian, and I know what that feels like." His voice drops to almost a whisper. "I'm not doing it again." Something in your chest tightens. You want to believe him. God, you just want to, but the fear still lingers. But then Taehyung smiles softly, a little sad, a little hopeful. "I get it, you know, why you're scared." You look up at him, searching his gaze. He chuckles softly. "You think I don't wake up every day scared as hell that I might mess this up? That I might do something to make you change your mind?" His expression turns serious again. "But I would rather spend my life proving you wrong than letting you walk away because of a fear that might never come true." You inhale sharply. You wasn't expecting him to understand so deeply. And maybe that's what makes it even more terrifying. For a long moment, neither of you both speak. And then, without thinking, you reach up and touch his face, just lightly, just enough to feel that he's real, that this moment is real. "I don't know how to do this," you whisper hesitantly, but voice filled with honesty. Taehyung smiles softly, leaning into your touch. He whisper replies, "Then let's figure it out together." Your breath hitches, and then you nod as your heart beats faster. It's not an answer, it's not a guarantee, but it's a beginning, and for now, that's enough.